Hello YouTube, time for another teardown. I've got a good one for you today. This is a VHF transceiver. Make this upside down. A VHF transceiver, as you can see here, made by Bendix. See the part number there, for mounting in, I would assume, a commercial jet aircraft. It's got the fairly standard equipment bay type connectors on the back, modification sticker, headphone socket, microphone socket, squelch button, this little indicator on the front, and a rotary switch. Yeah, let's take it apart and see what's in it. Now it's rather heavy, so I'm going to have to take the cover off camera. So here we go. Here we have the receiver section and a transmitter section. Some various bits and pieces over here. Probably filters. I think that's an RF relay of some sort. That bit is probably another relay. Let's have a look on the other side. Oh yeah, in the middle we've got this funny board which we'll look at, and this curious little bit in here. And on here we have the main frequency synthesizer here, and some other bits and pieces. So since it's this way around, let's start with the synthesizer. So that's really quite a nice bit of kit, isn't it? We've got probably a temperature compensated crystal oscillator here to keep it stable. Various adjustment things, a little switch, don't know what that does, some tantalum capacitors, a very nice looking glass sealed high precision capacitor there, some crystals, various little transistors. All the transistors in this thing are socketed. Oh, it's a, don't know what that is, have to look that up. Yeah, all the semiconductors in this thing are socketed, and it must have been really unreliable, because I've got a few boxes like this for upcoming teardowns, and every time I've taken the cover off there's been a transistor or a little integrated circuit fall out. So they must have consumed a tremendous amount of maintenance time just pushing all these little things back in. This unit actually, this side isn't too bad because it's mostly multi-pin ICs, which have obviously got a lot of pins, but the transistors with just 3 pins, they're really not stuck in very well. Anyway, enough of that. Let's take it apart some more. All the modules in this are wired together with these rather nice, oh, you can't see that, with these rather nice little connectors with gold pins on. So that's all quite nice. Makes it very easy to take apart at least. These coax connectors, they're actually not BNC. It's some sort of miniature BNC, but. And we pretty much have more of the same on this side. Very high density construction here, or as high density as possible with this this sort of stripboard style point-to-point construction. Yeah, I don't really know enough about how this is likely to have worked, except to say that it's probably some sort of analog harmonic amplifier. So you have your main reference frequency generated here, and then various harmonics of it are filtered off and amplified to generate the various different frequencies that were in use. and that's the output there. Let's just take this cover off. Yeah, we've just got some filters in there and a little output buffer by the look of it. So this bit's interesting. It's actually a plug-in board, a rather stiff plug-in board, but a plug-in board nonetheless. With obviously a PCB and some ICs on it. So perhaps it was a later addition that replaced some earlier unit that went in there. It says counter on it. Not sure what it will be counting. The date codes on this are all 74, so 73, 74. So yeah, that looks about right actually for this style of PCB. Probably a bit newer than the rest of it. The rest of it looks more kind of 60s. I'll try and find a date code on one of the other parts. We'll have to see. So another nice feature of this is the amount of hinges that are used. There's a hinge here. I think there's some other hinged bits around in some of the other Bendix boxes I've got. There's lots of hinges as well. Again, it makes it very easy to service, which is just as well when you have all these plug-in semiconductors. Oh, that's quite nice. Starting to see some interesting things here. Don't know what these are. Possibly like there must be some sort of choke actually. That one looks potted on top. When we get this unit out, we'll see what's on the other side. Okay, and another nice little connector here. And what is on the other side? Oh right, okay, another can. So there we go, lots of either tantalum or probably paper and oil capacitors. Oh no, they've got a polarity on them, so they're probably tantalum. Some power transistors. Yeah, those two are offset, so these blocks appear to be just on one side. So maybe this is a power supply board or something. It looks rather power supply-y with all these capacitors and chokes. Yeah, quite a nice little module. Not sure what that thing was supposed to do. Let's look at the other side. So let's start with the transmitter first. Yuck. Yeah, this side's definitely dirtier. So we have some nice big inductors here. Some rather peculiar looking, I guess they're RF low inductance resistors or something like that maybe, though I'm not quite sure why there's one of them going through the middle of these two inductors here. That's a bit peculiar. I suppose they might be inductors themselves, although the paint's coming off on that one. It does just look like a resistor underneath, so yeah, not sure about that. Lots of these high frequency transistors dotted around the place. So I guess that's the output, as I can't see anything else. Or maybe that's, since this is green, I think it maybe came from the synthesizer. So maybe that's a signal input. Let's try and get the rest of this unit out. Nice touch, they've actually colour coded the connections for these things. So. Yeah, not really sure how this transmitter module is supposed to come out actually, so maybe we'll have to address that later. Yep, we'll come back to that transmitter and instead look at the receiver for a bit. So that's quite nice. We've got something coming in the front here, and another one of these green wires from the synthesizer. And the connector. Yep, and that receiver module comes out quite nice and easily. Let's just have a look under that can. Screw stuff. Okay, there's some fairly standard RF stuff under there, nothing awfully exciting. Some mystery black boxes with, oh, this is what they are. Okay, so that looks like a filter. They're transformers. I guess that's probably a filter as well. What else have we got? Separate little daughter board. No, don't know. Can you really call that a board? I guess so. Oh, you idiot! It was there all along! There we go, it comes out fine now. So here we go, the bit you've all been waiting for, I'm sure. This is obviously the power section with this big heatsink here. So we have lots of stud transistors mounting all the way through here and there again. Yeah, lots of fairly typical high frequency stuff with all these silver microcapacitors all over the place. More stud transistors down here. Lots of nice silver Teflon coax. Yeah, probably a very expensive part when it was new. Unfortunately, I'm not really that into radio electronics, so I'm sure I could reuse a lot of these parts, but as it is, I'm not really sure what I can do with them. And transistors are probably rather dated by now anyway. They're this nice RF relay is quite good. Apart from the non-standard connectors on it. And that just leaves us... Yuck. That just leaves us with the rest of it, of which there isn't very much actually. It's all come apart quite nicely. Very nice modular design, very easily serviceable. Yeah, all the parts came out really quite easily. Everything's colour coded. Even these connectors, they weren't like desperately tightly screwed in. They all just plugged in and unplugged with a reasonable amount of force. So yeah, a nice quality bit of probably, I guess, 60s vintage avionics. Yeah, apart from that PCB with the ICs on, I didn't actually find anything else with a date code. Some of them say 75, so I guess it could be 75 and it could be a replacement module, but I don't know, it all looks a bit All this stuff looks a bit old for the 70s. There's another 6.9 capacitor here, so yeah, I guess these could be 1969, which would sort of fit with the construction technique. So, yeah, there you go. I hope you enjoyed it. I've got a few more of these boxes. This was probably the least interesting one. All the others have nice mechanical bits in and motors and things. So, yeah, stay tuned and more to come.